Your dog is sitting across the room from you right now, not barking, not demanding anything, just present. And you probably haven't thought twice about it. But what if that moment, that quiet, unremarkable moment you've seen 1,000 times, is actually one of the most significant things your dog is capable of doing? What if the behavior you've been completely overlooking is your dog handing you something it almost never gives to anyone? Because here's what most dog owners never find out. The deepest signs of trust a dog can show you are not the loud ones. They're not the jumps, the tail wags, the excited greetings at the door. Those are real, but they are not the whole story. The most profound expressions of canine trust are so quiet, so ordinary, so easy to miss, that most people live with a dog for 15 years and never once recognize what they were being shown. Today, we're going inside the canine, emotional world to answer a question that sounds simple but runs very deep. How does your dog actually tell you it trusts you? And what does it mean when it does? Before we can answer that, we need to understand what trust actually costs a dog. Because it isn't free. Dogs are descended from animals that lived and died by their ability to read threat. Every environment was a potential source of danger. Every unfamiliar presence required assessment. And the behaviors that kept them alive, constant vigilance, guarded sleep, awareness of exits, were not habits. They were survival. They were written into the nervous system. Over hundreds of thousands of years of living in a world that did not forgive mistakes. Your dog carries all of that history inside it, which means that when it chooses to let its guard down around you, it is not doing something small. It is doing something that runs against the deepest grain of what it was built to be. That is what makes the quiet signals so extraordinary. They are not accidents. They are decisions. The first signal, and the one most people walk past every single day, is where your dog chooses to sleep. Not just that it sleeps near you. Where exactly? And in what position? A dog that curls tightly into itself, spine curved, nose tucked, is protecting its vital organs. That is a defensive posture, a body preparing to respond to threat even in rest. But a dog that sleeps stretched out, belly exposed, legs loose, has made a calculated decision at the neurological level that this environment is safe enough to be completely vulnerable, and the belly is not incidental. It is the most undefended part of a dog's body. There are no instincts guiding a dog to expose it, quite the opposite. And when a dog rolls onto its back around you and simply stays there, breathing slowly, it is telling you something it cannot say in any other way. You have been placed outside the category of threat entirely. Not reduced, eliminated. And if that dog's exposed, belly is pointed toward you specifically. That is not coincidence. That is direction. That is your dog orienting its most vulnerable surface toward the one presence in the room it has decided. At the level of pure instinct, it does not need to protect itself from. The second signal is one that animal behaviorists have studied extensively and that most owners interpret completely backwards. It's called the slow blink. You've probably seen it. You're sitting quietly and your dog is looking at you, and then, very slowly, it closes its eyes. Not fully asleep, not distracted, just a long, deliberate, unhurried closing of the eyes in your direction. In the wild, a predator that closes its eyes around another animal is making an enormous concession. It is removing its primary threat detection system voluntarily. It is saying, in the only language instinct understands, that it does not believe it needs to watch you. When your dog slow blinks at you, it is not being sleepy. It is telling you that your presence does not require monitoring, that you have moved so far out of the threat landscape that it can afford to stop watching you entirely, even briefly, even for a second. And that second is everything. If you slow blink back, something interesting often happens. The dog holds your gaze a moment longer. Sometimes it approaches. Sometimes it simply settles deeper, because you have answered in a language it understands. And what you said was, "I see you. I feel it too." Here is where the science becomes genuinely extraordinary. Research out of Azabu University in Japan, the same institution that pioneered much of what we understand about the oxytocin bond between dogs and humans, has demonstrated that mutual gazing between a dog and its owner triggers a measurable surge of oxytocin in both. The same neurochemical released between a mother and infant during bonding. The same chemicals that signals safety, connection, and love at the biological level. Your dog is not just looking at you when it holds that soft, steady gaze. It is chemically bonding with you, and it only does this with someone it has decided, at the deepest level of its nervous system, is safe. The third signal is the one that tends to surprise people the most when they finally understand it. Leaning, not jumping, not pawing, not demanding attention in any active way. Just the quiet, deliberate pressure of a dog's body settling against yours, a flank against your leg, a head on your foot, a shoulder pressed into your side while you sit on the couch. It looks passive. It looks like the dog is simply resting. But lean behavior in dogs is not passive at all. It is chosen. Dogs do not lean against things that make them uncertain. They do not press their bodies into sources of stress or ambiguity. The lean is a statement about where, in all of the dog's sensory and emotional landscape, it has found its center. You are that center. When a dog leans into you, it is not seeking support in the way a child might cling to a parent out of fear. It is anchoring itself. It is placing the point of stillness in its world directly against you, because you have become the thing that makes everything else make sense. And here's the detail that changes how you see it entirely. Dogs that lean do so most often in new or mildly uncertain environments. A waiting room, a new house, a walk in unfamiliar territory. The lean is not random. It appears precisely when the world requires a little extra processing, and your dog has decided that the answer to that processing is you. If you're seeing your dog differently right now, you're not alone. Hit the like button. It tells us to keep going deeper, and we are far from done. The fourth signal is the one that looks the most ordinary and carries the most weight. It is simply this. Your dog brings you things, not just toys, not just during play, but at random moments. A sock, a stick it found in the yard, the same toy it has carried to you 3 times this week. And it doesn't always want you to take it. Sometimes it just holds it, standing in front of you, tail moving slowly. This behavior has its roots in something very old. Dogs share food and objects with members of their inner circle, not with strangers, not with animals they are uncertain about. Sharing resources is one of the clearest markers of group membership in canine. Social behavior. When your dog brings you something, it is not playing a game. It is including you. It is saying you are inside the boundary. You are one of us. The fifth signal is the subtlest of all and in many ways the most honest. It is your dog's body language when it hears a sound and then looks at you. Watch for this. Something happens outside. A car, a voice, a sound the dog doesn't immediately recognize. And before it does anything else, before it barks or investigates or retreats, it looks at you. That look is called social referencing, and it is one of the most psychologically complex behaviors a domestic dog is capable of. It means your dog is not processing the world alone. It is using you as a data point. It is asking, in the clearest way it knows how, should I be worried about this? And the remarkable thing is that what your dog does next depends almost entirely on what your face and body communicate in response. A calm owner produces a calm dog. A tense owner produces a tense dog. Not because dogs are simple, but because they have integrated you so completely into their threat assessment system that your emotional state has become their primary environmental cue. That is not dependence. That is trust at its most complete. Your dog has handed you the job of helping it understand the world. And it did so not because it had no choice, but because you earned it. So, what does it mean to earn it? It means consistency. Dogs do not extend trust to unpredictability. They extend it to patterns, tooth presence that always came back, the voice that never turned dangerous. The hands where always safe. Trust in a dog is not built in a single moment. It is built in 10,000 unremarkable ones, and it is kept in exactly the same way. The dogs that show the most profound trust signals are rarely the ones who received the most dramatic gestures of love. They are the ones who received the most reliable ones. Quiet constancy, calm presence, the same person showing up the same way, day after day, until the nervous system finally, slowly, put down everything it was carrying. That is what your dog is telling you when it exposes its belly in your direction. When it slow blinks across the room, when it leans its whole weight against your leg and exhales, it is telling you that you are the place where it finally stopped bracing. And if you have ever been trusted like that, you already know. There is nothing quite like it. So the next time your dog does something quiet, something easy to overlook, take a second before you scroll past it or step around it or simply don't notice it at all, because it might be the most important thing it's said to you all day. If this opened something up for you, share it with someone who loves their dog, because somewhere out there is a person walking past one of these signals every single day, and they deserve to know what they've been given. Subscribe, because on this channel, we speak dog, and we are just getting started. See you in the next one.